This Coast to Coast Entertainment Network program is brought to you by Beside Me Bracelets. Our bracelets are handmade for any occasion. Use the promo code Coast to Coast for 15% off. Visit their website at besideme.com. Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry. With 24-hour shopping available, use the code 160920 and show her some love, like she showed us. Reaper Apparel Company, a commitment to live your most authentic way every single day. Visit reaperapparelco.com for more information and a look at all of their apparel offerings. And by Good Day Embroidery, your local source for custom embroidery, screen printing, and more. Log on to gooddayembroidery.com for more information.
Hello and welcome to another edition of C2C Rankem. I'm the host, Big B, along with my co-host, halfway around the world, the Primus, Tim Hendricks. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing good. I think we need to stop having these weeks off because we have weeks off and 4 people die. It's kind of it's almost like a precursor.
Yeah.
It's like, what was it?
Yeah, at least we're not predicting them.
No. We had Willie Mays the day after our show. Yep. Then we had Donald Sutherland. Then we had Martin Mull, and then we had Orlando Cepeda.
Yep, and then we actually had
don't tell me we had a 5th one.
Roman Reigns' dad.
Oh, Sika, yeah.
Yep, Sika is.
Holy smokes! How do I? Yeah. I don't think it's. We need to stop these. I know life gets in the way, but boy, oh boy.
Yep. Last week, I had some stuff going on, and we would have been on time, but my son had a dentist appointment this morning, so had to push it back. But we are here, and as always, we always make it up. So we got a few extra topics, dates that we're gonna throw at you guys today. So with that being said, we are doing birth dates for June and then the first few in July here. So with that being said, let's get on to June 3rd. So what do you think there? I got one curveball here, I think. Maybe 2 curveballs.
I have a curveball, and then I kind of have a curveball, and then I have a kind of a homer pick.
Oh, okay. All right.
But I think we may get 2.
Okay, yeah, I could see 2. I could see 2. All right. Kick it off.
All right. We don't really bring up what my dad did in college all that much, but
that would be a long list. I mean, your dad was a popular guy, so that would be a long.
I don't know if he was popular. But my dad played on the golf team at Texas Christian.
Oh, okay.
And he caddied for some people. He caddied for Ben Hogan at the Colonial, and other things. Well, I kind of have a small love for golf. I've played a little bit. I'm not as good as my dad, but I do remember seeing my number 5 play. I don't remember how many majors he has, but I've seen him enough to know to pay attention and know he was probably top 15 of the time when I started watching. This is before Tiger. This is before Sergio. This is before what they are now, but this is back in the Phil Mickelson days, Curtis Strange, back in that day. My number 5 is Hale Irwin.
All right. I didn't know your dad was a golfer. That's kind of cool. So I put my number 5. I want to just make sure I got the right data here. Okay, yep. So I put this guy on mainly because of his nickname, but then I looked at his height, and I'm like, they must have been playing against those small people because he was called the Pine Tree. And to me, pine trees are big, but he only stood 6'3". He was a New Zealand rugby player, and that is one Colin Metz from New Zealand. They call him the Pine Tree. at 6'3".
You and your odd sports takes. That's
Yeah.
definitely a curveball. I think I've got a couple later down.
Well, like I said, I put him on because of his nickname of the Pine Tree, and I'm like, okay, that must be a tall dude to play rugby. And
Right.
So, all right, you're number 4.
All right, we don't talk about the Confederacy much on this show, or just about anywhere. And I think they lost the war, and they understand that, even though they say the South will rise again. I don't know where they're rising, but at this point,
oh no, I think Indianapolis Colts say that every year too.
Yeah, I know, but we haven't risen since Luck got hurt and retired on us. But there has to be a president. There has to be a leader for a seceded country, as it were. My number 4, like I said, is my curveball. Is Jefferson Davis, the president of the Confederacy.
All right. Oh, I gotcha. So, well, the phrase that pays gets kicked off at number 4 here. Golfing. I'm with you. I golf here and there a little bit. I watch it, and again, most of it had to do with Tiger Woods because he was, one of my teachers always watched his golfing on Friday when he was in the tournament. But yeah, Hale Irwin at number 4. You're number 3.
All right, my number 3, as a lot of people know, this is kind of my homer pick. I'm a big Florida Gator fan. If I'm not mistaken, he has just won his first NBA title with the Boston Celtics. He is a member of what they call the Gator Nation in basketball. He's part of the 2-time NBA, the NCAA champs, with Joakim Noah and Corey Brewer. The only one of the 3 that is actually now have a championship, and I think he's the only one of the 3 that is still playing. They call them the 04s, and helped create what is now called in college athletics the Gator Slam, which is winning the basketball national championship and the football national championship in the same calendar year, but they also went back to back. So that's the school that held the 2 major titles for over a year in the NCAAs. But my number 3 is Al Horford.
I was wondering, I'm like, who the heck did I miss? Speaking of the Celtics, Tatum's getting paid.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's getting paid for you Celtics fans, so we'll see if he's hanging around there. My number 3 comes from a long line of catchers. I should say long line, but 3 or 4 brothers that caught and got a couple rings, and that's one Jose Molina.
Where was Jose? I know Yachty was in St. Louis,
New York, and New York Yankees he won, and the LA Angels.
Oh, he won one with the Angels before Trout got there. That's got to make Trout real happy.
Yep, exactly. Yep. All right, you're number 2.
All right, my number 2 is a patriarch of one of the great lineages in Hollywood. I remember seeing him first time I saw him. He was playing opposite. Oh, I'm going to be so mad when I get this wrong. I want to say Jack Lemmon in Some Like It Hot. I want to say that. But everybody, I always thought he wasn't the world's. He was very flamboyant in a lot of things, but then you realize that he is the father of Jamie Lee Curtis. Huge Hollywood royalty back in the 50s and the 60s. I've watched very, very little of his stuff, but like I said, I've seen him in different movies back in the 50s. My number 2 is Tony Curtis.
Oh, okay. All right, my number 2. This is probably a first for us. I have he is known for being an audio engineer specializing in live concert mixes that included Elvis Presley, Bruce Springsteen, Barbra Streisand, Fleetwood Mac. He was born in Australia, and that is one Bruce Jackson.
I'm going to say, who did I miss?
No.
I'm going to say, here comes somebody like I'm going to miss like David Guetta, or I'm going to miss
You're
like
number
Steve
1.
Aoki. My number 1. I believe I still believe he's playing tennis. At one point, had one of the greater rivalries with him. I'm going to say, I was going to by chance say his name, and I'm not going to. Roger Federer. A little bit with Novak Djokovic. I believe he's still playing, not at the number 1 level that I'm used to. Multi-time Wimbledon, multi-time, multi Grand Slam award winner, like he's won awards. Grand Slam champion, a winner. I want to say he's from Spain. I like him. He's I don't watch much for tennis, but he's one of those names that I know outside of Roger Federer and Agassi and Connors and McEnroe. But my number 1 is Rafael Nadal.
I was just checking something on him because I thought he was part of something, but he's not. All right. So yeah, phrase that plays. Number 2. My number 1 is your number 1, Rafael Nadal. Yeah, I'm not. He did have some great matches. I actually looked him up because I wanted to see if he was part of that longest match that lasted like 11 days.
That was
11 hours.
That was
somebody else. Yeah.
That was Fish and somebody else.
Yeah. And he is from Spain, but yeah, I wanted to just check because I was going to say you missed that he was part of the longest game. So, well, we got 2. Well, Tim sniped me at 2. And those are the. No, I actually thought we were going to have Jose Molina. I didn't think we were going to have Irwin. I didn't think that was going to be in there. So, all right. So let's move on to the 10th of June. This one's a tough one for me. I'm gonna go a 2 by chance.
2 by chance. I'm thinking 2 and a curveball.
Ooh.
If to me it's like I'll explain it when we get to the curveball. But yeah, I think 2. If our number 1 and 2 aren't the same, I think we're questioning things.
Well, we'll see. So, all right, I kick it off, and I'm going to go with my number 5 because that's where we start at. I just wanted to look at something quick because she's an actress, I believe. Where is she? I'll type it in. I'm trying to figure out what show she's on. Elizabeth.
Oh, you went that way with the actress. Okay.
Well, she is an actress. Okay. Sorry, guys. Actress, model. I'm trying to see what I've seen her in. Oh, yes, that's who she is. Austin Powers, she's in, and that's Elizabeth Hurley.
Yeah. I'm thinking, which one is he going with? And I'm thinking, I've got an actress too, and I'm going.
All right.
All right.
So you're number 5.
My number 5 is kind of my curveball. Kind of a curveball. You grew up in the Midwest, like I did. Went to school in the Midwest, and for some reason, I don't know if you were taught in school about people who explorers of the Midwest. We had to learn this, and I think he was a Catholic priest that was going across the country, finding a way to the West Coast, but he was spreading Christianity and and the such. And there's a matter of fact, the college in Milwaukee is named after this Catholic priest. There's also a city in Michigan that is named after this Catholic priest. He was always known to be around with Joliet, another Frenchman who, as a matter of fact, Joliet is named. The prison's named after him in Illinois, and the city's named after him. But my number 5 is we had to learn about him in Wisconsin, and because he went all the way through Wisconsin, and he's gone through. I think he went through Minnesota, and I think he went through Michigan, but who knows anymore? But my number 5 is Jacques Marquette.
Okay, yeah, good ball on my part or on your part. So, all right, got a comment here, probably from our good friend. Oh no,
Friend.
Jason. Good morning, buddy. How you doing?
A friend. He's our friend.
Yeah, I thought for sure it would be Dragon Viper because I was going to start ripping them.
Friend. He's our
But
friend.
anyways, my number 4 is I guess he's big name now, but still kind of an up and comer in the country music world. He's got some good hits. When I get a chance, if he comes and the tickets are right, I'll probably take the wife and go see him. That's one Lee Bryce.
Never heard of the guy, but then again, they don't play too much country here.
Oh, you have to YouTube him. All right, you're number 4.
All right, we have 2 sayings on this, on this show, and right now this isn't the first one that comes to our mind, the whole phrase that pays, but we also have this other saying that somebody's got to be a first.
All right,
and I have a first.
Okay,
and I have actually up on some of these lists. I think I have a couple firsts.
Okay.
But this one is the first person to win an Oscar. Not only the first African American person to win an Oscar, not only the first African American woman, but the first African American to win an Oscar for something all the way back with Gone with the Wind, and it took forever for another African American person to win an Oscar. I think the next person that won was Sidney Poitier in the 70s, but it took almost 30 years for the next one to win one. My number 4 is Hattie McDaniel.
That's a good one. I was just scrolling through and saw that. Yeah, that's a good one. All right. My number 3, we not get too political, but when you're a prince of somewhere, I think you got to make the list. I got Prince Phillips at number 3.
No.
All right.
If that were the case, I would have had Joe Biden higher up on the last list.
All right, you're number 3.
All right, my number 3. I have a stand-up comedian. I know we rarely have stand-up comedians on our list, and right now you have now gotten scared about which stand-up comedian you have missed.
Yeah.
Because there are only few stand-up comedians that have actually been huge, but we've been lucky enough to see him. I've been lucky enough to see him on different shows. Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad. He actually showed up as a guest appearance on The Mandalorian. Which if you're into Star Wars and you like TV series, I think I would recommend The Mandalorian. And it was it shocked me, much like when Jack Black showed up on The Mandalorian in season 3. It kind of threw me for a loop. He was here in Italy 2 years ago, which is funny because I didn't realize that American stand-up comedians show up, and I'm not room to talk because Russell Crowe is going to be here in 2 weeks. But my number 3 is a guy from Massachusetts. Kind of very opinionated, and he's not afraid to tell you. If anybody's watched YouTube and has heard this guy, they know exactly who I'm talking about and what type of opinion he has. My number 3 is Bill Burr.
Yeah, I don't know. I've listened to some of his stuff. I don't hate the guy. I don't know if I'd go see him, but but a lot of people like him. I gotta give him credit. So my number 2. So again, this is this is like a lot of things that we don't talk about. I mean, it seems like, but I'm gonna go on the ice, not NHL. I'm gonna go to a little figure skating, and I think she had a good rivalry with another figure skater that I can't think of her name right now. But she was, I believe, she's more known for her act on injuring the skater, and that's one Tara Lipinski.
No, you're thinking of Tanya. You're thinking of Tanya Harding.
Tanya Harding. Okay, I thought it was Tara Lipinski.
You're good. You're good on figure skating with Tara Lipinski, but no, she's. Yeah. I think she was always going up against Kristi Yamaguchi.
Oh, you might be right. Yes, you probably are right. Now that I think about it, yeah.
J-Max going, holy smokes! We pulled up Tara Lipinski, Tanya Harding, and Kristi Yamaguchi all in one shot.
Yep, exactly. All right, you're number 2. You are right. I was thinking of the wrong figure skater.
My number 2 is a football player.
Ooh,
so okay. we're gonna have this conversation because my number 2 isn't your number 2 at this point.
Nope.
Was actually, I believe, was one of the few people who's actually been in Los Angeles and San Diego as Chargers. I might be wrong on that. Don't fact check me because I watched a debate that needed fact checking this week. But came into prominence with Don Coryell. And it was the reason why Air Coryell became such a big thing in the San Diego Chargers. In the San Diego Chargers history, I think if God, now I can't even remember who's in Los Angeles as their quarterback.
Is that Stafford?
No, Stafford's in Los Angeles. Is the other LA team. Oh man. Whatever, whoever it is, because I can't remember. Wow, I need to do homework before we do morning tailgate again. But God, it's going to bother me until the rest of the night. I think probably the third best quarterback that the Chargers had, behind Breeze and Rivers. I've watched him. I hear him now more in CBS. There are some times where I think Dan Fouts sounds like Ron Burgundy sometimes, and I'm thinking it's crazy. And then there's some days where I think that Tony Romo sounds like Dan Fouts. But my number 2 is the San Diego quarterback, Dan Fouts.
I missed that one.
Who am I thinking? Who's the quarterback in San Diego, Los Angeles now?
The Raiders?
The Chargers.
It's
Yeah, see, I thought Burrow too.
No, it's not Burrow. J-Mac will get on. Herbert.
Yeah. Justin Herbert, yeah.
Oh my God.
Wow. All right. So we're ready for morning tailgate.
Yeah, exactly. My number 1, I will say yes, could be a homer pick, but I know her more for, yes, she was born in Grand Rapids, Minnesota, but again, she's a great actress, and the only film that I know her in is the one my wife does not like to watch that much, and that is Wizard of Oz, and that is Julie Garland.
Well, yeah, completely agree. But I like Wizard of Oz. Wizard of Oz is a good movie.
All right. You're number 1.
Well, I kind of alluded to it earlier. If somebody's got to be the first, well, this is the other one. This is the phrase that pays. It's not C2C unless you're sniping. My number 1 is your number 1, Judy Garland.
Yep, and they just found the ruby red slippers that somebody stole, and they're putting them up for sale again.
Bastards.
Yeah. So, all right. So let's move over to the 15th. So this one could be
interesting.
Honestly, this could be a 5 for 5er. I don't think it will be. I know we're going to get. I'm going to predict we're going to get a Tim traveling story back in the day with his dad. I'm going to go 3.
You're going to go 3.
I'm going to go 3.
You're getting it one of those. I'm going to honestly tell you, we're going to get one of those stories. God, we get 3. I trust your 3 at this point.
All right, go ahead, Tim. Give us a story. It better not be at 5. I will be. All right.
It's not. It's not. If J-Mac is still watching, this one's kind of and if 99% of my family is watching, they will be happy that this man is on the list. My brother and I have been lucky to have met my number 5 at a football camp in 92 in Green Bay. Probably a guy that doesn't get enough credit, and I'm not going to say Mike McCarthy. He deserves more credit in Green Bay, considering what he did with a quarterback that probably in most other teams probably wouldn't have started right away. And then goes to Seattle and becomes a GM and a head coach with the Seahawks, and then goes and becomes and then after leaving Seattle, he goes to Cleveland. Basically, you've just gone from what used to be NFL, the black hole in the NFL, going to Green Bay, and then you turn around and you end your career in Cleveland, which turns out to be a black hole in the NFL. But that guy is tall. I'm telling you, when you don't realize it on TV how tall this guy is, and to be part of what is probably considered the greatest coaching tree in NFL history, to come from Bill Walsh and the San Francisco 49ers. But I'm lucky. I have an autograph of this coach. I got a lot of autographs from that coaching staff, who ended up going to be NFL coaches other places, such as Steve Mariucci, Dick Duran, Andy Reid. The list of that another football tree, another coaching tree that's amazing to understand. But my number 5 won a Super Bowl in Green Bay, lost one to Denver, which I'll never forgive them for, because nobody should have given John Elway a Super Bowl championship. But my number 5 is Mike Holmgren.
I missed that one. Okay. That's a good one. So I'm going to go into the music world at number 5 here. Now, it's not going to be one of Tim's stories, because I'm going to say that for, hopefully I don't snipe him. But me and Tim met up in a nightclub. You're gonna snipe the early 90s, and this guy is part of how many are there? 5 of them. Probably in the original gangster rap world, I guess. But he turned out to be a pretty decent actor, and and stuff like that. But number 5, I got Ice Cube.
Yeah, I think 3 is good. I think 3 is going to be. I think 3 is going to be easy at this point. I think, unless
number 4,
unless you've screwed up somewhere else. I don't know. This guy, this actor had made a bunch of movies, in the 90s. I'm going to ask this question: if you have him on the list, has Jackson watched any of these movies? Which is hilarious. Then he ended up getting into a little known movie with the executive producer of Steve Jobs by the name of Toy Story, where my number 4 was the voice of Slinky Dog. And then turns around and gets into a movie called The Beverly Hillbillies, where he plays Jed Clampett. in the Beverly Hillbillies. But I remember the first time I ever saw my number 4. He played he always showed up, and it was always Hey Vern. Every time you heard the word Hey Vern, you knew exactly who was on your screen. By a character by the name of Ernest P. World, and Ernest takes on this, Ernest and this, Ernest and that. Ernest goes to prison. Ernest goes to camp. When he passed away, it was kind of heartbreaking because he was the first person that kind of felt like our childhood was kind of leaving us, but it left us at such a young age. But my number 4 is Jim Varney.
I missed that one.
Oh boy, three might be tough, folks.
Yeah, Jim Varney. Yeah, because now they got a picture of him and John Cena next to each other. John Cena looks like the new Ernest.
Really?
Have you seen? I'll have to find you one.
No, I haven't seen it.
My number 4. Speaking of wrestling, we're gonna jump into the ring here. She came out, wanted to be a hugger, and then she turned on everybody. Now she's getting back to being a face. I am going to go with the Bailey buddies, and I'm going to go with Bailey.
I didn't even see it. I missed it. I
didn't either until I was scrolling through again to overcheck things. So I almost missed that one too. So.
I didn't even see it.
Yeah. All right, your number 3.
My number 3. Well, you kind of alluded to it. We're going to go into the music realm, and yep, here comes that story.
All right.
Back in the day when my family and we'd all go. It's been a long time, and you're looking at this going, he's going to tell that damn story again. We used to go on vacation and listen we'd always go on vacation. We'd always listen to country music, older country music. And I always remember him as one of the Highwaymen, with him and Johnny Cash and Chris Christopherson and Willie Nelson. My number 3 is Waylon Jennings.
I thought he'd be up there higher. I really did.
Yeah.
So, all right, I got a duel here. Actresses. Yeah. So we don't give love to too many females on here, but for some reason, this one, I got 2 here. So both of them are very good actors, very good looking. One plays in King of the Queens, and I think she was also in a couple episodes of Saved by the Bell.
God, how did I miss that one too?
And then the other one, I think we know her for Sleepless in Seattle. I think that she was in that one. Twister.
No, she wasn't in Sleepless in Seattle.
Okay, nope.
I know who you're talking about.
Once I said Twister, I'm like, no, that's not her. No. But I got Helen Hunt, and I got Leah Remy.
Yeah, I got Helen Hunt at 7. Yeah.
All right, you're number 2.
My number 2, and I'm going to the acting world.
All 3's out.
It's funny because he played the original. He played, like, to me, I always thought he was like the original kid actor, the kid genius in TV shows. And I kind of made a running joke in one of our in our bro code group chat about the Barney Stinson. Well, my number 2 played Barney Stinson in How I Met Your Mother, but I remember him in Doogie Howser, MD, and then everybody also remembers him in different things. The one with Whoopi Goldberg. God, I can't remember the name of that movie. But then again, I remember him playing somebody completely off character in the Harold and Kumar movies. And then he started doing the TV series of Lemony Snicket's, a series of unfortunate events TV series. But my number 2, and matter of fact, he's done a couple episodes of Doctor Who in the last season. Yeah, I'm a bit of a Who freak, so. But my number 2 is Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah, young Doogie Howser. What is it that he got through school in like what 3 years I think it was from
Yeah.
kindergarten to college or something. Yeah, yeah. And look at him now. So
Yep.
all right, my number 2. We're gonna go to the diamond. We're gonna go to the hot spot. I think he played for both rival teams, and then I think he played for Tampa Bay for a quick second there.
Hometown team.
But my number 2 is Mr. Wade Boggs.
Number 6.
Number 6.
Yeah.
All right, now I'm kind of curious who
double up
mine
at
is.
6. I had him double up at number 6 with Dusty Baker.
Ooh, I missed Dusty Baker. Okay.
And the funny thing is, I've seen both of them play.
Yep. All right, you're number 1.
Now, it's the phrase that pays. I can't remember where you had him. But yeah, it's not C2C unless we're sniping. My number 1 is your number
5.
3. Ice Cube.
I had him at 5.
5.
Really? You had him? Wow.
Yeah. That's all right. I had Mario Cuomo at number 8, so if it makes you feel any better.
Well, the phrase that pays, you had him at 3. I took him at 1. Waylon Jennings. I thought for sure you'd had him at 1. That's why I was kind of curious. I'm like, who did I miss that you put Waylon Jennings at 3? So, all right. So let's move over to the 25th of June. Yeah, this one's gonna be tough. I got a big curveball. I'll say that right now.
I could say 1. If you got a curveball, I'm gonna say 1.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. I will go first then.
Yeah, because this could be weird.
Yeah, this could be an offer though. I mean, if you're saying 1, I'm kind of debating on 1 or 2. This could be an offer. But I'm going to kick it off with the NBA Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
the guy that manned the middle for his teams, Willis Reed.
Number 6. 6. I'm looking right at him going number 6.
All right, you're number 5.
I'm going in the acting world. I think a lot of us remember him from the 70s, from a TV show that actually gave us Janet Jackson in the 70s. I was kind of shocked to see him there. I always had this, and if people from the 2000s look at people who grew up in the 70s and watched TVs in the 70s and they say Dynamite, this is the reason. There was a little TV show called Good Times. If I'm not mistaken, was a spin-off of the Jeffersons, if I think right.
No.
It's it was a spin-off of What's Happening. That's the one.
Yeah, you're right.
But my number 5 is one JJ Jimmy Walker.
I missed that one. Oh. All right. So I'm going to go with my number 4 because that's next. He's an actor. I don't watch him, that TV show that he's in much, but I know a lot of people do. And I think if, I don't put him on the list, some people come at me. But he's in The Office. I've seen a few episodes. Comedian Rich Gebbs.
That's right.
Yeah.
I got you. Don't worry.
All right.
I got you. Don't worry.
You're number 4.
My number 4. I'm going singer-songwriter. My my wife absolutely loves this singer-songwriter. No, not Boy George. That was 2 episodes ago. I think it was 2 episodes ago. But her and a colleague of hers, they love singing some of her stuff. But she's got a song called "You're So Vain." which is really, really good. And everybody's wondering who she's talking about when she's singing this song, but my number 4 is Carly Simon.
Okay. All right. So my number 3, my curveball, we're going to go all the way to the land of Korea because I like the guy's name and that's what he goes by. And he's a singer, actor. Well, I looked him up first because it said that he acted in Full House. I'm like, well, who is this? Plus, it's the Korean version of Full House. But I'm not going to try to pronounce his name. I'm going to go by what he goes by, and he goes by Rain. Yeah, so a lot easier than saying his real name. So
yeah.
All right, your number 2 or 3.
My number 3. I'm going with an author. I had to read one of his books. I bet you a lot of people who watch our show has had to read at least 1 or 2 of his books. One of his books, Animal Farm, is a direct analogy for World War II. And then another one of his books was the direct inspiration for a Nike commercial. No, I'm sorry, not Nike. A Apple commercial that was only aired once on Super Bowl Sunday. Where John Hurt is playing the part of Big Brother. The 1984 book, which I was dumb enough to have to volunteered myself to write a paper about. So yeah, not the world's greatest of thoughts, but my number 3 is George Orwell.
Okay. My number 2, we just got finished up with the NBA draft, so I might as well go with an NBA guy here. At number 2, 7'6", I believe he stood. And when he blocked the shot, he always gave the finger.
Yeah, he gave the finger. Not the fun one.
Yeah. And then he started getting fined, so he had to do it a different way by doing it to the fans and not to the player. And that is one, Dikembe Mutombo.
I don't know who that guy is.
There's a lot of people.
You're number 2.
There's a lot of people in the NBA that didn't want to know who he was either.
Yeah, exactly.
My number 2, I had to double check to make sure that this was this guy and not the guy who used to do the Sports Machine on Sunday nights. The former lead singer of a small little group called Wham. I tell you, I saw the documentary on Netflix about Wham, and I thought it was brilliant. Died on Christmas, I believe, in 2017. But absolutely crazy when you realize what he got in trouble for. But I love his music. I think some of his stuff is visionary at such a early time in the 80s, and what he did was fascinating with Wham and him and Adam Ridgely. Absolutely fantastic. My number 2 is George Michael.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. The phrase that pays. I have George Michael as my number 1, so I'm kind of curious on who you have at number 1 there.
Well, there we go. Go ahead. It's the phrase that pays.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You got Rain. All right.
No. This is the day we quit. No, I when you said I don't watch his stuff, and I'm like, oh boy, he really thought he was going to throw a Ricky Gervais curveball at me so far down. My number 1 is your number 4.
Yep.
Yeah, I love his stuff. I if you ever get a chance to watch some of his not of his office stuff, but his
and honestly, I've probably seen some of his stuff. It just doesn't jump out at me.
Watch Watch a series on Netflix called Afterlife, and it will and how he didn't win an award for that is blows my mind.
All right. Yeah, because he was in the Night of Museum. I've seen that.
Yeah,
so-
he was the guy who hires Ben Stiller at the beginning. He's also
Okay.
in the movie. He's also in a movie called The Invention of the Lie.
Okay. Gotcha.
Absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely
All right.
amazing.
All right, so let's move over to December.
December, great.
27th.
Woo!
This one could be a good one too, I think. It could be a big hit or miss.
We're gonna miss, I think.
God dang it.
I may have one of your curveballs. I may have a curveball that can technically be considered a homer for you.
Wow. If it's the one I'm thinking of, it's not a curveball, but yeah. All right. I'm gonna go 3.
You're gonna go
I'm gonna go
3? I'm thinking 1, 2, maybe 2, 3. 3's an outside possibility, but I'm thinking 1 for sure at this point.
Yeah, there should be a couple in there. So all right,
Yeah.
go ahead.
All right, we'll start off with your homer curveball. I know we don't. This outside of Stan Lee. I don't think we don't talk too much about comic book people on this show.
Oh, not what I was thinking of.
But we have and I remember back in 91, 92, when I read the article that DC Comics was going to do this, and it was amazing. And this is the guy who was the author of that comic book. When I heard about this, I had to buy as much of it as I can, knowing that my brother's favorite comic book character is this character. It was also given to me by I believe my sister as a Christmas gift, and then I turned around many years later. I bought the whole Doomsday series, the Death of Superman series, the Return of Superman, the Reign of Superman, Funeral for a Friend, the whole arc. But I didn't realize that this guy was from a little town in Minnesota called Ortonville.
Huh.
I have no clue where Ortonville is, but it sounds like Jackson knows where Ortonville is.
Jackson don't know nothing.
I don't know.
But my number 5 is the author of the Death of Superman comic book, Dan Jurgens.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely a curveball. Did not see that one. All right, cool. All right, so I'm gonna go my number 5 here. We don't get political, and I think this might be the second or third political person we talked about today. I know he ran for presidency. I know he got beat bad, I think it was, when he ran. And my number 5 is Ross Perot.
I did see that one.
All right, you're number 4.
All right. My number 4, I'm going into country music. If I'm not mistaken, she's the widow of, oh man, okay, no, I remember. Is the widow of Keith Whitley. But I absolutely love her. Another one of those that I love her work. She's kind of gone into hiding, or she might be dead. I'm not sure. I haven't done my homework that well. It's not. I have done what you did to Susan Sarandon instead of Susan Summers. But my number 4 is Lori Morgan.
I think Lori Morgan's still around. I missed that one too, but I just like how you just like she's either hiding or dead. I don't know yet.
Okay. At least I remembered her name and not Justin Herbert.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so my number 4. When you started talking comics, I was like, "Oh, he's going to do this one." You said Homer. I'm like, "Well, this guy's not from Minnesota, so I don't know how this could be a Homer pick." But
Lori's still alive. Lori Morgan is still alive.
Okay, good. So my number 4, And I just saw a documentary. I wanted to watch her interview that, if I remember right, he was not what they wanted in the character Spider-Man, but blew him away or something like that. I can't remember. I saw a quick clip of it on a social media page. So and that's Tobey Maguire.
Wow, he's that low, and I'm starting to worry. Who did I miss?
All right, you're number three.
Number three. My number three. A director, writer. I think a lot of people remember him for doing the TV series Lost. He also did the TV series Alias. But what I just found, and the funny thing is, I just found out when I forgot completely that I put this guy on my list when I read the little bit of an article that I read about him. That he is the director who has made Star Trek, the Star Trek that has made the most money, and he's also the director who has, I believe, before inflation, has made Star Wars the most money in a run. Big Star Wars fan, big Star Trek fan. Kind of wish he had done it differently instead of kind of remaking instead of remaking A New Hope and Return of the Jedi into what they did. But my number three is J.J. Abrams.
Okay. All right. So my number three, I put her at three. I think, she could have been higher, but put her at three because I don't think the younger generation is really going to know who she is. And I believe she was born blind and deaf, if not one of them for most of her years. That's one, Helen Keller.
So we said how many did were we going to get?
What did I say? You
We could
said
be good or-
one, I think. I said three.
Yeah, well, here we go. It's the phrase that pays. Because at my number two, wow, I was shocked when you put her at three. My number two is Helen Keller.
Yep. All right. My number two. I know a lot of people are going to tell me, why did I put this lady so high? Because it's the name, the TV show, I think is still on. I think her and her sisters have probably tried to marry every famous athlete, actor they could get and put them on the show. I know Chris Humphries was on there for a quick second. My number two is Khloe Kardashian.
I stayed away from her like the plague. I stayed away from her like every other every athlete and musician and artist should do. And I'm oof.
Yep.
But
you're number two.
That was your number two.
That was my number two. You're number one.
Your number two. My number one. Well, I kind of brought up. You kind of brought him up. It's another phrase that pays. My number one is your number three.
Four.
My number one is Leonardo DiCaprio. This by itself should have probably put him lower than four when you realize this. But my number one is Leonardo DiCaprio's best friend, Tobey Maguire.
Yeah. All right, my number one is my homer pick. In the squared circle. Watched him growing up in the AWA. Reading some of his bio here, he played 4 seasons with the Green Bay Packers, and then became a 16-time world champion, AWA world champion, once 20-time take champion over his career, and that is one Dick the Bruiser.
Oh, okay. I had to think about who the hell did I miss?
Yeah,
I think I'm trying to remember if he was at that pay-per-view.
Wow.
I don't feel so bad. That's nice. That's a good curveball.
Yeah, I forgot he even played for the Packers.
I did too. I thought you said the Packers. I went, wait, did I miss Lex Luger again?
No, that was on the 2nd of June.
Yeah, because Luger
Yep.
played for the Packers too.
Yep, he did. I think he's actually in their Hall of Fame too.
And-
if I remember right.
And who else played for the Packers? Didn't Terry Crews played for the Packers for a little bit?
I think so, yeah. So, all right. So we're gonna give you guys a little bonus action here. We're gonna go July 1st, yesterday. So happy birthday, belated birthday to those that were born on this day. Number one better be the same.
If it's not, if it's not, and it's not
Number
rain,
one better be the same. Outside of that,
if it's not, rain should have been number one before.
yeah. I mean, realistically, I could see. I could see 4 because I don't know if you'll have 1.
I'm thinking 4 too, but
All right, let's go 4. Let's
right.
go big or go home.
right.
And number one better be the same.
Oh,
And I get to start too.
you do. You
All right,
so-
so I
Do
am
you?
going.
Yeah, you do. You do. You do. You do.
I am going to go with my number 5. Well-known Olympian, I think, outside of Jesse Owens and maybe Michael Phelps. He's probably one of the most known athletes to get multi-gold medals in his sports, and that's one Carl Lewis. All right, you're number 5.
My number 5, unlike much like the Kardashian, much like the sister of the Kardashian from the list above,
Yeah.
she wasn't famous for the sex tape, but it didn't hurt her. But she was known for having a sex tape with one Tommy Lee. But the thing is, she's more known for being the Tool Time girl from Home Improvement, and then being on. You didn't know this, did you?
No, I did. I know.
Okay. And then becoming almost a household name in Baywatch, and then became stalked by Borat in the first Borat movie. But my number 5 is Pamela Anderson.
My number 4.
I have a curveball. I'm going to tell you I have a curveball.
My number 4 is a actress from the great state of Minnesota. She played with one of my favorite country singers in a TV show called Reba.
Oh, okay.
And she shows up every time Reba shows up here in Minnesota on her concert, except for the one concert that I went to. But Reba did say that she invited her, but she had other obligations. So, my number 4 is, and she also was in Baby's
Fargo.
Daddy, I think it was.
She was in Fargo too.
Yeah, Melissa Peterman.
Yep. Okay. You said 4, right?
I said possible 4. Yep.
Impossible 4. Okay, cool.
Oh,
Just checking.
you're
All right.
number 4.
You know, I have this thing about bringing up characters who have birthdays.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I do. 'Cause I did it here, folks.
Ooh, who did I miss?
When I saw it, I had to look twice and I had to read it twice. And it says fictional character. So I'm like, okay, it's who I'm looking for then. Like an actor, a character who has been famously played by not only River Phoenix, Joaquin's brother, but also by this guy who nobody really knows. Just some carpenter that became big after he turned 30. One Harrison Ford, but most people know. And Sean Connery's character, Mr. Henry Jones Sr., knows that the dog was called Indiana, but yet Henry Jones Jr. takes the name of Indy from the dog. My number 4 is Henry Indiana Jones Jr.
Okay. All right.
So help me God, if you say the face that pays, I'm going to be so mad.
No. I wouldn't put that one either because I know you do like to do fictional characters. You like to throw those curveballs out there. My number 3, actor, kind of a comedian. I don't recall him being in anything serious that I can recall, but I mean, he was in Ghostbusters, Coneheads,
Blues Brothers.
original cast member of Saturday Night Live, I believe. And that's one Dan Aykroyd.
That's
Blues
low.
Brothers.
That is low. Holy wow!
I got 2 spots ahead of him. How low do you want? All right, you're number 3.
My number 3 is the phrase that pays. It's not C2C unless you're sniping. My number 3 is your number 5.
All right, Carl Lewis.
Carl Lewis.
3. All right. Well, we'll go back to phrase that pays. I got the voice. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have the voice of the dog. All right. My number 2 is your number 5. I kind of looked at you because you said she's best known for being the two-time girl. And I'm like, did you forget she was in Baywatch?
No, I didn't forget.
Yeah, because I think I mean I know her. I mean, yes, you look back and it's like, oh yeah, she was. But I think a lot of people are gonna know her more for
Baywatch,
of course,
and Playboy, and a sex tape with Tommy Lee,
and then Kid Rock, I think, took next to that. But yeah, Pamela Lee Anderson. Barbed Wire was another movie she was in too.
Yeah.
So you're number 2.
My number 2 is the phrase that pays.
Oh, we're going 3 for 3.
It's not C2C unless we're sniping. My number 2 is your number 3.
Oh, way low. That's low for him, and you had him at number 2.
Oh, here we go.
All right. My number 1, and I know one of my former bosses was a big fan of this lady, and I will recall waking up in the middle of the night and seeing the TV on the news, and because I think every channel had it on at the time, of her dying in a car wreck from the paparazzi. And that's one, Princess Diana.
Go ahead.
All right. I'm glad we got number 1 right.
It's the phrase that pays. I remember that night so well because I didn't go to sleep. I had such bad insomnia, so I decided to go downstairs and watch TV. And I remember they broke in. I remember they broke in from the show that I was watching.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember CBS, it was like, what, up to the minute, all of a sudden shows up, and I'm like, and then they said Diana Spencer died, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be a hell of a day to go to school tomorrow.
Yep.
But yeah, I remember that.
Yep. One of the few times it's going to be one of those moments where you're just going to know
exactly where you were.
Yep.
You know where you were when it happened.
All right. So we got tomorrow. We got July 3rd. We're going to give these guys a little happy birthday here early. So
just forget it. 1, 2, maybe.
we should, honestly, I mean, should be 3.
I hope. I don't see it.
I'll go 2.
I'm going 2, and I guess.
All right, let's go 2. Let's go 2. All
right. So my number 5. Every time my wife hears this, I'm going singer. When you realize that my wife hates this woman, absolutely hates this woman. She watches this show. She's going to ask me, why'd you put her on the list? Because she sings an Italian song. When you find out that it's an Italian song that they rewrote and they translated it into English, it's kind of funny. But my number 5 is the singer who stole an Italian song called Gloria, by the name of Laura by Laura Branigan.
Okay.
God, if you say this, it's
No,
a phrase
no.
that praise, I'm gonna go nuts.
No, not here at this one. Hopefully,
Not here.
well, my number 5 is an actress on a little TV show that most of us kids watched before or after Sesame Street, called Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. I'm trying to recall what part she played in there, but her name is Margaret McFarland.
I don't remember what part she played.
Yeah, I don't either, but
Not especially Mr. Rogers.
not to throw her on there.
Especially
You're number 4.
I'm not going to lie. This day was tough. I don't know what in the world I was thinking when I picked it.
Yeah. You're number 4.
My number 4. I'm I kind of have it's an actress, kind of. I remember she actually was a voice actress and probably one of the longest. And I'm going to rob the WWE Raw because Raw says that they're the longest running episodic TV show in history. I call BS on that because this show came out well before Monday Night Raw. I understand that it's continuous and they don't repeat, but I remember this used to be a little thing that used to go into commercials for another TV show, and then they spun it off into their own TV show. It used to be a little thing on the Tracy Ullman show that would go into a commercial, and then Fox thought it would be a bright idea to make this a half-hour TV show on Sundays. And a lot of times it's one of the original shows that came on after football on Fox. And it still runs today and is known well to be a TV show that predicts the future. A little show called The Simpsons. My number 4 is the voice of one Maggie. No, sorry. Lisa Simpson, Yeardley Smith.
Yeah, that's a good one. I didn't know it started off as a commercial though. That's kind of
Yeah,
cool.
it would run. It was like a 10, 15 second, 30-second thing, and then it would go into the commercial. And yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I got number 4 here. Part of an organization I don't really like, but got to respect on how they build their organization. Yes, they throw money at players and they try to buy themselves championships. 9 times out of 10, it does not work as successful as they want or when they want it to work. But the mastermind behind the Yankees for most of his career, Brian Cashman.
You went Cashman. I didn't want to go Cashman.
I didn't either, but it was a tough one. You're number 3.
My number 3, I was lucky enough to see him at the Dickinson County Fair. A country singer. I think I saw him in 98. Right at the prime, which is really weird because Dickinson County Fair doesn't really get people in their prime. That'd be like getting Reba McEntire in the 80s, 80s and 90s, and that never happened. Country singer. My number 3 is Aaron Tippin.
My number 3, man, the outfield for a few different teams. He's part of another family bloodline, as wrestling likes to call. But his father and uncles were in the same outfield, I think, at least once in a game. My number 3 is Moise Alou.
Okay, I'm like, you went with Greg Vaughn.
Yeah, no, he doesn't have that great of a bloodline.
No,
all right, you're number 2.
He really doesn't. My number 2, kind of a homer curveball type of thing. He plays Red Foreman in that 70s show. But he's also the villain in RoboCop. The funny thing is, I didn't realize this was a homer pick until I saw where he was born. I've been to the city. I've lived near. I've lived near him too, actually, come to think about it. For a brief period when my parents separated, I lived in a little town called Mauston. When you realize how big Mauston is, it's not really a little town. But right next door is a little town called New Lisbon. And I had no idea that Red Foreman lived in New Lisbon, was born in New Lisbon, but my number 2 is Kurtwood Smith.
Good one. I we talk about, kind of switching spots. I would like to see him in back in the 70s and 80s TV show. Oh God, I just had it on top of my head now. It can't be made today. The guy always called his son-in-law Meathead.
All the family.
All the family. I would love to see him be the father of that one.
I think he'd be perfect.
Oh, I think he would be too. All right, my number 2, the phrase that pays. I actually got to see this guy perform with 2 other country singers last year, I think, and the dude is ripped.
Yeah, he is.
And I don't. And talking to my entertainment director, he said that he had to take him to go work out in the morning before the show, and yeah,
he used to be. Well, the thing is, didn't he used to be a truck driver?
Yeah, but yeah, Aaron Tippin. For his age and what he can do and move around, and
I wouldn't want to screw with him. I wouldn't want to mess with the guy.
No.
Not even close.
He doesn't. I mean, honestly, I don't even think of these bouncers. Really, I mean, dude is.
No, we don't.
Dude is jacked.
So if anybody knows Aaron Tippin, please forward this to him and tell him we don't want to mess with him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, who knows? Aaron Tippin might be watching. Who knows?
He might be. You're right. Yeah. Absolutely.
All right, because I know my number 1 is definitely watching us.
If my number 1 is watching us, we need him as a sponsor.
All right,
maybe
number 1.
Maybe not his religion, but maybe him wouldn't be that bad of an idea. My number 1 played in an amazing movie called Legend, opposite another amazing actor who played the devil in Legend, Tim Curry. Played in a movie called All the Right Moves. Yeah, at this point we're just talking jokes. Then he goes and does Top Gun. He goes and does Mission Impossible. He does Risky Business. Risky Business basically threw him on the map. Everything he does now seems to touch a gold. If you ever want to see somebody, the 2 greatest movies I've ever seen this guy in was a Rock of Ages, where he actually sings, and then Tropic Thunder, where he plays an absolutely psychotic movie producer. Still 2 of the most amazing roles I've ever seen him do. But my number 1 is Tom Cruise.
Yeah, we could go on forever. I mean, Cocktails. We could go. You said Risky Business. Jerry Maguire.
Days of Thunder.
Top Gun 2. He was in that again. But yeah, the phrase that pays at number 1. I got Tom Cruise.
I'm like, if you didn't have Tom Cruise, I'm going, I quit. This show's done.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's go to our last date here.
This would be the Tony Gwynn. This kills your Tony Gwynn right off the top.
I don't know if that'll ever kill that one. July 5th. So after 4th of July here, we got birthdays for July 5th. So I would get to start.
How many? This is going to be interesting.
I got 1 curveball.
I do too. I got 2 technically.
Oh, okay. I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to say 2.
I'm going to say. I have a feeling you're going to hit one of my curveballs. That's the sad thing. I'm going to go 3. I honestly think 3 because I think you're going to hit one of my curveballs.
Okay. All right. My number 5 played in a TV. You brought up Super Bowl commercials, and one of their TV shows, his son got into ABC's control panel or something, and he uploaded his commercial and got played in the Super Bowl ad on the TV show. And so, but he's the father of a Smart Guy, and I know he played in a couple other movies. I got John Marshall Jones. That's my curveball.
That's your curveball?
You didn't watch Smart Guy?
No.
Okay.
No.
He played in a couple other movies too. So, all right, you're number 5.
My number 5. Here's one of my maybe one of my two curveballs at this point, and you missed mine. Back in the day, now you're really gonna, and I know you saw it because I know the page that you're on that you went to. My number 5. I remember back in the day, back in the 90s. I think it was huge. The year I graduated, it was huge. They were talking about cloning, and they were always wondering what they were going to clone. And when they found out, the British, they decided to clone a sheep. And that was in 93. And that sheep has now died. I think that sheep died 2 years ago. Matter of fact, 2-3 years ago. But my number 5 is Dolly the sheep.
Wow. My number 4,
don't say it.
pitcher. No. They call him Goose, and no, he's not from Top Gun. Risk Goose Gossage. You're number 4.
My number 4. We have a saying on this show. Somebody's got to be the first. Now you're wondering, who did you miss, right?
Yeah, who did I miss?
Well, this guy was a 4-time national champion, 5-time Rose Bowl champion. But here's where he's the first at. He is the first head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. My number 4 is the former and first head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, John McKay.
Okay. All right, my number 3, I believe played a quick cameo in Back to the Future. I think they referenced him a couple times in that movie. I'm trying to think what else he is in, but Huey Lewis.
He was in Die Hard.
What's that?
He was in Die Hard. For a little bit, he was in Die Hard, yeah.
Okay. You're number 3.
My number 3, we don't bring up this too often. We don't talk about circuses too much.
Wow, you really dug into the 5th here.
and the funny thing is, the guys from Michigan, not from Michigan. He's from the East Coast, but there is a circus museum and a circus hall of fame in the state of Wisconsin in a city called Baraboo, and he started it. But everybody remembers, I believe he's the guy that also coined the phrase, there's a sucker born every day. And it comes from this. And I also believe that he was played by Hugh Jackman in the movie The Greatest Showman. My number 3 from the great group, the circus group of Barnum and Bailey Circus. My guy is number 3, P.T. Barnum.
And then, honestly, that's got to be a first, too, because I don't think we've talked about circus. Not on this show, at least. All right. Well, that's a good one. That's definitely a big curveball. My number 2, I hate to, what he does in baseball, well, what he did in baseball, because he hasn't done it yet this year. I think it's going to catch on. I think a lot of players nowadays are going to try to be a two-way athlete. They even put it in the video game now, so that's kind of cool. And my number 2 is Shohei Ohtani.
I thought you were going to skip over that guy. I legitimately thought you were going to go right over that guy. I'm like, oh, crying out loud. Because it was small. It wasn't in the big picture.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. No.
But here's the phrase that pays. It's not C2C unless we're sniping. My number 2 is your number 3. Huey Lewis.
Okay. All right. So
and the thing is, I always get stuck in they always make a joke. It was Saturday Night Live made a joke that every time they played Huey Lewis songs that they always start singing it, and because he was basically the guy that did the music soundtrack for Back to the Future, and then he briefly shows up and
he briefly shows up
in Die Hard too.
Yeah, he's the judge in Back to the Future. And says that song ain't good enough or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. So My number one. You got to be a first. And I can't sugarcoat it anymore because you kind of stole it at 5. But my number one is your number 5, Dolly the sheep. I saw that. I'm like, oh, maybe he'll swing over it, but of course you couldn't.
Come on, I put Indiana Jones on. I'm thinking I gotta put Dolly the sheep on.
Yeah. All right, you're number one.
Well, if this makes you feel any better, it's a phrase that pays. It's not C2C unless you're sniping. My number one is your number 2.
Oh, so
like I said, I saw Shohei Ohtani. I'm like, oh, I wonder if he just flew right by him. I'm like,
I did actually at first, and I went back through and was looking. I'm like, oh, Zoe. And then I was also going through it, and like you said, you knew me, you knew what I was looking for. I actually missed Dolly the sheep at first, and when I was going back, I saw it. But
had James
Dolly the sheep died in 2003.
Yeah, and to be honest, if I didn't see Dolly the sheep, James Lofton would have been my number 5.
Yeah, from Scotland, born in Scotland. All right.
Yep.
So, all right, guys. So let's do a quick. I had the list up here quickly. Top. Father. Let's see if I can find it here quick again. Father and son. All right.
Fathers and sons. Oh boy. Baseball, sports.
That's what I was looking at here. Well, they got. Okay. We'll do the great, and this is kind of in honor of LeBron James being able to play with his son.
Did you hear the rumor that LeBron James is sleeping with a teammate's mother?
Yeah. Yeah. That was dumb.
But the funny thing is that's better than that's more TV safe than the joke that I put in the bro code chat.
Oh, I missed that one, but
read it.
So we'll go with I just had it. Greatest father son duels in MLB history.
What the hell was that?
All right, we'll start. We'll go. Let's see here. We'll start at. Well, we'll go 10. We'll go 10. So at number 10, Dizzy Trout and Steve Trout. No relation to Mike Trout. They just made that clear in there.
Oh, okay. I'm like,
number 11, just in case you guys are wondering, Prince and Cecil Fielder.
And that's below. Okay. I already have a problem.
I do too. I just saw that. I'm just like, okay.
How is that guy? How are those two guys we've never heard of before better than Cecil and Prince Fielder? Who have the exact same stats.
That's the ironic part with Cecil and Prince. Exact same stats. And the same amount of
game, everything.
Yeah. Number 9, Sandy and Roberto Alomar.
Okay, what? Okay. I'd have a problem with that. I think Sandy was a better. I think Sandy Jr. was a better player than Roberto.
Yeah. Okay, bud. All right, Gus Bell and Buddy Bell.
Okay, that one. I think that's a 3 generation. But yeah, I think that.
Yeah, they just had the 2. So, they did say like the Boones, the Bells had 3 generations. Yes. Yeah. Jose Cruz and Jose Cruz Jr. And that's at number 7. At number 6, Mel and Todd Stottlemyre.
See that? I think that one should be a little higher. Well, that should be higher. It should be top 5.
Well, at number 5, Ray Boone and Bob Boone.
And Brett.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd flip the Stoudemire's or the Boones, but that's just
at number 4.
Here comes the words Griffey, and I'm going to be so pissed.
Val and Val Jr.
Who? Oh, Vladimir. Okay,
Vladimir. Yep.
Vladdy Daddy and Vladdy Daddy Jr.
Yeah. Number 3, Felipe and Moises Alou.
I think that should be number 2, but that's just me.
At number 2. You've got to be kidding me.
Here comes Ken Griffey and Ken Griffey Jr.
Yes, Ken Griffey Jr.
Who in the world do they got at number 1 at this point?
Wow,
Hold on. Let me think about
it's
this.
going to piss off a lot of people at number 1 here.
Who's like at this point number 1? Who's number 1? At this point, Fernando Tatis and Fernando Tatis Jr. or Dante and Bo Bichette?
Nope.
I'm going to
The home run king, Bobby and Barry Bonds at number 1. Honorable mention, Randy Hudley and Todd Hudley.
I don't even know who Randy Hundley is.
Yeah, I don't either. Stan, I can't pronounce their last name. They don't even have Tatis Senior and Junior on here.
Yeah, give it time. They don't have Bichettes either, but that's cool.
They don't have Bichettes on there either. Hal and Brian McRae.
That's ridiculous because I think those two should be higher up too.
Yeah. Gary Matthews Sr., Gary Matthews Jr. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So, with that being said, Tim,
no Tony Gwynn, no Tony Gwynn, and no Tony Gwynn Jr. or Chris Gwynn or
the Gwynn sons didn't.
Yeah, both of them sucked in Milwaukee too. So don't.
Yeah. So,
or Benny Dykstra and his kid.
Yeah,
because Dykstra, his kid was in Milwaukee too.
Exactly. So, you got Biggio and his dad. Yeah. So
you don't have Cody. You don't have Roger and Kobe Clemens.
Yep. Yeah. We'll see if that list pans out down the road. But with that being said, any final thoughts there, bud?
No, let's not miss next week because if that's the case, we may have 6 people dead. We just keep upping the ante. So if we do not have a show next week, start calling people and asking if they're okay. Keep watching to see. Our next show is, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. No, I'm wrong. I'd be mistaken because it's the day before my birthday. 2 weeks. If we miss next week's show, and our next show is going to be on the 16th of July, which is the day before my birthday, which is technically 2 days after I get to see. I forgot to tell everybody, I got tickets. To go see Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe-mania in Varese on the 14th of July. That was the birthday present for me.
All right.
I'm pumped.
Yeah, we should be good for the 19th. The 16th we probably will have to miss because I have something going on that day.
Okay, cool.
If anything, we'll do on Wednesday. If things work out.
On my birthday, I'm all about that.
So with that being said, we have tonight late night C2C with Callan and James. Wednesday Sports Minute. Thursday, hopefully we get the returning Isaiah. He's been MIA. We've been missing his movie reviews, and we got a good one that we're waiting to get reviewed on.
He's been going. I give him. I cut him a little slack. This past couple weeks, he's been touring the country with his grandmother. So I'll give him a pass on this.
Yep, and supposedly made an appearance at the NHL draft.
After he decided to go to the Smurf Turf up in Boise.
Yep. So, morning tailgate.
Oh man, I gotta start studying.
On deck.
That's
entertainment hour. Kicking it, of course, and then Between the Ropes on Sunday. I think we might be doing a Between the Ropes tonight because people's schedules got mixed up. So with that being said, you just keep checking out with us. Hopefully get the crew back together, get some of our good shows back. With that being said, we'll see y'all next week on C2C Rankem. Have a good one.